Hello and welcome to Hey, I Loved That Movie, the podcast where we rewatch the films we loved when we were younger to see if they still hold up. I'm Dan.
I'm Michael.
And I'm Helena.
And for this episode, we watched 4 Weddings and a Funeral. I hadn't seen this before,
No,
and I'm glad.
Yeah, no, I'd never seen it.
You'd never seen it before?
No, I
No.
confused this with
Notting Hill?
Death at a Funeral.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
Very different film.
Yeah.
A lot better.
I loved this film, and I continue to love this film, and you're all wrong.
I do not understand how. I don't
Yeah.
understand how.
It's a very... I mean, these people really have nothing better going on
Boring.
in their lives
Such a-
than, I don't know who I'm going to marry.
It's
Oh,
such a
I'm going to marry this person because
boring
marriage is the
film.
most important thing to us boomers.
My core problem with it's a bunch of very unbelievably posh people complaining about nothing
Yeah,
for 2 hours.
2 hours. Yeah, it was long.
I think
And I
it's
guess-
dragged.
it's a very quaint film about love and friendship.
No, I have a problem with this is a posh person's film. This is such a this
Are posh
is
people not allowed to watch films?
no, this is my core problem. This is like a much bigger problem than this film. This is like the problem with British indie cinema is it's so fucking posh, and all of the people working in it, because the person that wrote this was like, oh, this is incredibly relatable. It's fucking not. Sorry, I'm really angry about this film.
No, it really isn't relatable in any way. Like, you say it's about love and friendship, but like,
They
you
hate
barely
each other.
really... Yeah, you
They're
barely
all
see them being
terrible.
friends. They just kind of exist in the same space.
Every woman in it is either like terrible in love with the main character or hates the main character for no reason, is over emotional, or a fucking manic pixie dream girl, American manic pixie dream. Oh, it makes me so mad. The poshest manic. What? So this back to the film and actually,
I was going to talk about the plot, and
Yeah.
I was excited,
No, we can talk
and my
about the
bubble has
plot.
been burst, and I hate both of you, and I don't want to do this podcast anymore.
We can talk about the plot. There's one bit that I did enjoy, and that surprisingly was the bit with Rowan Atkinson in it. Where he's
Oh, you
fucking
guys
up
didn't
the-
fucking warn me he was in this.
Oh, we did. I'm sure I mentioned it. He's so little. He's baby Rowan Atkinson.
He doesn't do too much in this, but
No.
the bit where he's like fucking up the lines that they're having to repeat at the wedding, that bit was funny.
That was
Yeah.
funny.
I love it when
Yeah,
he just
that
gives
was-
up on the guy's really long name.
Yeah, he's just like flubber.
So the plot of this film centers around I don't know the name.
Hugh Grant.
Hugh Grant.
It's literally 4 weddings and a funeral.
It's Hugh Grant going to 4 different weddings. First one he falls in love with a girl. Second one he finds out she's engaged.
Yeah.
And there's a funeral, and then the third one, it's
Yeah, the third one is her getting married and a guy dies and then they have a funeral and then he's going to get married to a character who he fucking hates because all he cares about is that he's going to get married.
Well, no,
And
it's 10,
hates-
10 months later. Like, a lot seems to have
Yeah.
happened. Like, he does seem to love,
No, he doesn't.
Yeah,
but he doesn't
Pretty
love
nice if it
her
showed
enough.
us.
But the
No.
whole point of this film is it's literally set on the days of these 4 weddings
Yeah.
and
yeah,
the funeral.
But the characters don't seem to progress. Like, I mean, the most character progression in this is that one of them dies.
Yeah, like there is a couple that I actually enjoy in this film, and it's so his brother's deaf.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hugh Grant's
yeah.
brother is deaf, and there's like his brother like flirts with a girl, and their flirting's like really sweet and nice, and
Yeah,
it
because
goes
she's then
nowhere.
trying to learn sign
She's
language.
trying- yeah, and she
because-
keeps finger spelling
Really
wrong.
sweet.
So
Yeah.
he's like, "Would you like to dance?" And she's like, "That would be mice."
and then
Yeah.
it goes nowhere.
No, they get married at the end.
I may have turned it off before then. I may have.
I think the credits are like,
It does
Your
a
wedding.
like a Stand By Me kind of thing, but not with
Oh,
the
that doesn't-
text, just
that
with
doesn't
wedding
count.
photos.
That doesn't count. That's lazy. That's not writing it into the story. That's going, oh shit, we need to tie this up at the end. I'm so mad about this film. So what's also wild to me is, so in the first wedding, which is okay, we learn more about like Hugh Grant's character, and Hugh Grant's character is his roommate.
Yeah, it's friend
I've
from uni.
forgotten her name. Yeah,
Oh, Scarlet.
Scarlet. They don't know how to set alarms.
Well,
As far as
his
I
alarm
know.
wakes him
No,
up. He just turns
right.
it back off again and falls back asleep.
But also, why in movies do people set alarms for the most fucking ridiculous times? Like 4 minutes past 9. I'm like, no,
Yeah.
just set it for 5 past or 9 or quarter past. Like,
Yeah.
what? And then you see it's like, oh, now it's 8:47. Time for my alarm. It doesn't make sense. Anyway,
I
carry
mean,
on.
Yeah.
That just
it's an
always
analog.
bothers me in movies.
It's an analog alarm though, and like you don't set the time on your phone. You set it by twiddling a tiny little knob, and you get to 4 minutes past 9. You're probably like, fuck it, close enough.
I went too far. I'm not going all the way around yet.
I'm not. Yeah, I've got to spin this another 24 times.
Okay, that's a fair point.
But yeah,
Or like
they're-
my digital alarm was the same, where it was like you pressed and held it, and the numbers would like spin by, and then if you went over, like you had to, if you wanted to set it at an earlier time, you had to go through the whole thing again.
Are those 4 minutes important? No, they're not. So it tries to present him as like kind of an everyman. Like he's meant to be a lower middle class.
I don't
Like
think
he
it.
has a roommate. He's right. He was meant to be like
Yeah.
that. Like
Yeah, I think he's not supposed to be. He's not
not
supposed to be
working
like
class.
rich. Like they've got the rich friend, but they're not. I don't think they're presenting them as like working class or anything like that.
They present her as working class. They present her as like lower middle class.
I think but she's still like arty. I think just because she's got an accent doesn't mean she's not.
She's got an accent and like doesn't know how to behave at weddings. Kind of, it's very a bit classist. But I think like to make him not the posh, to make that actor not the most poshest person in the room, all the other characters have to be like lords or the 7th richest man in England.
Well, yeah, they've
And
got that one friend who owns a castle.
So funny to me, the fact that they were like, we got Hugh Grant. We could ask him to tone down his accent. No, how about everyone else is like gentry? Like everyone else needs to be the richest people in England to make Hugh Grant not look posh. And that was so funny to me for the first wedding because it was like, oh, this person's also super rich.
Yeah, and the what's her name? Fiona Fifi is like incredibly posh,
Hmm.
and her
Okay.
brother, is
Yeah.
like working in finance because they have like servants, don't they? You see at the start.
Yeah.
Yeah, even the kind of like crazy-ish guy that ends up dying, even he's that kind of like posh rich person version of a bit weird and
Yeah.
I don't know how to describe it.
Eccentric.
He's an
Yeah.
eccentric.
Yeah, he's like an
landowner.
eccentric weird. He's not actually like, charming, chatty, that kind of thing. He's just rich and weird.
Yeah. It's this film's attempt to try and convince you that Hugh Grant isn't posh. And that was really funny.
I don't think. I
Because they
think
had-
he's just very London and of its time, where you could
Yeah.
the idea of being you have to be incredibly like a billionaire now to live in London. That wasn't so much the case back in
No, but-
1994.
No, but
Do you know another way that you can tell these characters are really posh? Because the second wedding, these two people met and fucked at the first wedding, which was 3 months ago. So they organised an entire wedding
yeah.
in 3 months.
Yeah. Which when you've got money to throw at the wall, that's
Exactly,
That's
it doesn't
easy.
matter. It's fine. When you can afford to fly back and forth from America to go to your friends' weddings,
yeah.
it's fine.
That's fine. So yeah, he's late for the first wedding. He is the best man. The story of the first wedding.
Yeah.
He's late.
He's the best man.
he's-
He forgets the rings, which is literally his only job, apart from ushering as well, which he didn't do.
Yeah. Which they started off as likable. His roommate is great, likable throughout.
Yeah,
He's an arsehole.
yeah.
Hugh Grant's character is just an arsehole. That was another problem that I had similar to Love Actually. Is I couldn't work out if these characters were meant to be likable, and I just can't personally stand them because none of them are likable to me. Even the deaf guy is an arsehole. Like he's a misogynist,
The deaf guy. Oh,
Yeah.
what, for talking about her boobs.
and just the way he talks about people, like he's a bit of a misogynist. And it was like, oh, cool. They can't have a genuinely nice people, right? That's not just me.
Yeah, no, I get what you mean.
I think Matthew's pretty nice the whole time.
Which one is Matthew?
The gay dude.
Yeah,
That doesn't
he was
die.
nice. No, he was nice. He was really
There was
nice.
a gay character in this.
Yes,
what?
there was. Yeah, no, the
Did you not notice
Scottish guy.
the Scottish guy
Oh,
Scottish
John
guy.
Hannah.
and
his character
Gareth,
was gay.
his partner?
Oh, they were partners. Okay, I was vaguely paying attention to the movie. I thought that was like his dad or something. I don't know.
They kiss.
I didn't
They're
notice.
posh.
And they like talk at the
Yeah.
end, and they're like, "Well, we talked about all of us being bachelors, but actually these two were basically married the whole time, and like they'd lived
Well,
together."
that explains why he's really sad when he dies.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know
Okay.
how he reads "Stop All the Clocks," that poem by a really famous gay poet.
Yeah, no, I'm not into poetry. No idea.
Okay, I mean it's one of those things that like I don't think I necessarily picked up on it as a kid because it has got that 90s like let's
They're
not
gay,
that's
they're gay, but we never mention it. We never
Yeah.
outright call it that.
Yeah.
And they're never
I think-
shown being affectionate to
they
each
are,
other.
but they are shown being
Not that much.
affectionate, but not loads, obviously.
Nowhere near as much as any of the other characters.
Yeah, and they show, but they show him with someone new at the end as well in the little freeze frames at the end.
Yeah, again,
Um,
issue with them.
like, yeah, I know you don't like that, but they do show like it's not like they're
Yeah.
hiding the fact that he's gay. They're just not.
No, it's just
mentioning
90s
it.
careful about it.
Yeah,
No, I
Yeah,
think I
that's-
just didn't pick up on it because I didn't care about any of the
That's-
characters either.
No, honestly, I was
but
like,
yeah,
this
it's
character's-
It's Jonathan from The Mummy, isn't it?
But that was it. I was like, the only reason I really care about that character is I was like, oh, this character's gay, cool. I'm gonna like this character. And he never does anything awful. It's just the main character. Like the rest of them are just kind of terrible people, and I don't get on with.
Hugh Grant character is pretty terrible because he's
Obsessed with himself.
yeah. Well, he meets this girl, but he doesn't pursue it, and he doesn't do anything, and then he allows it. He basically lets her cheat on her fiance,
Mm-hmm.
and then doesn't like pursue it again. Lets her goes to her wedding, and then like obviously, so the end of it is that he's going to marry Fiona and leaves her at the essentially he leaves her at the altar to marry or not marry or whatever to get to be with Carrie, the American girl that he
Yeah.
meets at the
But
first
it's
wedding.
got a nice romantic kiss in the rain, and it's so smooshy and lovely.
Yeah.
And it was
That bit didn't hold up for
fun.
me, just because the ADR on it is so bad
It
in
is
that rain
really bad.
scene. It's like
Yeah.
they did the lines first and then tried to get them to act the video part.
Yeah, they did. It did have the vibe of doing it backwards.
Yeah, that didn't work. That really took me out of it because a lot of this is like, oh, this is going to make me sound really posh. A lot of this is really homely for me because I used when I was a kid, we used to go up to London a lot and to Islington and like my house where I grew up kind of looks like some of the houses that we see in this, and my parents were kind of similar to these people.
Yeah, you are the middle class one in this.
Yes,
in this
incredibly
podcast.
middle class, and it really shows when she goes I was like, oh, that staircase looks like my parents' staircase when she's come, and then she's like, and then she gets her cup of coffee from her butler, and I'm like, okay, well, I had the staircase, didn't have the butler, but
There it goes. That's like my problem.
relatable for me. But
Yeah.
I love it. I used to watch this a lot as a kid. My mum, I think, really liked it, and it was like that, and not all the Hugh Grant films. And my parents always thought this was really funny. And I don't know if it's just because they've been late to weddings before, but they always like. This was one of the first films I think I got to watch that had like lots of swearing in, because it's not just like lots of films will have their one F-bomb,
Yeah.
but this one is like no, it's a F frag grenade.
It's a lot of safe swearing.
Yeah, they're not. Yeah, it's like just oh fuck, like we're running
Yeah.
late. But I love the costume. Well, I say costumes. I love the 90s-ness of the outfits as well.
Costumes.
It's almost come full circle. Yeah, with like Hugh Grant in that kind of looks like I'd like people try and look like him now
Yeah.
with
No,
the floppy hair and the horn rim glasses.
Yeah. Floppy middle part.
It's come back in like in a
It's-
big way, especially like I think
Yeah.
in like Japan and as well with J-pop stars. Am
Yeah,
I talking
yeah,
out my
yeah.
arse? No,
No,
they've
it's-
started
it's-
doing that.
It's definitely back. It's definitely a Gen Z look. It's definitely like
What hasn't come back is the wedding dresses, and I'm going to bring it up now. I got married recently. That might be why I've got a soft spot for this more than you two. I like.
We were there.
yeah, we were there. We did go.
I know, but you've not mentioned it yet. My dress was prettier though. My dress
It
didn't
was.
have big puffy sleeves.
Yeah, your wedding was much more fun.
Yeah, mainly
I got married, so doing better than you,
Yeah.
Grant.
Exactly, and the wedding speech had the sliding finger moment.
That's
So
great.
I was going to say,
It's
yeah,
a lot better.
the best man speeches in this I thought were pretty cute, and also, oh god, it just made me think of my dad's speech at the wedding.
Which was incredible, and
it was amazing.
That was
I
the most-
thanked him for that personally, and
Yeah.
I think he was too drunk to remember.
Oh, he was so proud of himself. My mum also was threatening for ages to wear a big hat to the wedding, and I think the hat that Carrie wears in the first wedding. That's just this massive black sun hat.
Yeah.
I think that's kind
Yeah,
of
it
what
looks like a dustbin lid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's what my mum was going for. But in the
Yeah.
end, she settled on something else. Thank God.
was
I
gonna
think
say that.
yeah.
There's a lot more big hats in these weddings than at your wedding. I was going to say
Yes.
that.
I think big hats have had their time and they haven't quite come back yet.
Thank God.
Yeah,
'Cause
I don't look
that-
forward to
that-
that.
Cuts down the amount of people you can get in the room when you have big hats.
Yeah, or
But-
people travel for miles, sometimes across the country, sometimes from another country, to sit and stare at the back of a big hat.
That's why Abraham Lincoln got shot.
He's just a big guy. I do kind of want big hats to come back. Like those kind of big hats would be amazing. I feel like that's a very, very posh wedding thing. Like a
Yes, it's pretty much exclusively weddings, and then I think races have some sort of weird rules about what kind of hat women have to wear.
that's ridiculous. That's
Did you not know
insane.
that?
No, I didn't know there were like I knew from like watching stuff. I knew that there was like women dressed a certain like standard and
Yeah, there's dress
there was a
codes for
certain
a lot of the
style for it.
races.
I didn't. I thought
Um,
that was like a socially imposed thing. I didn't think.
No,
it was,
no,
like,
no.
you
It's a
just
dress
have-
code, and
That's
it's
insane.
some of the races ban explicitly do not allow you to wear fascinators, which is like just a little headdress
Yeah,
thing that
yeah.
doesn't actually construe a hat. They've got like specific brim measurements, like
Oh,
it's got to
that's
have a brim of at least an inch or something. I don't know. I've never been. This is something that I went a rabbit hole down on Wikipedia or whatever 3 years ago that I'm half remembering. But yeah, there's like the really
shit.
posh ones, which I guess would be like, is it Ascot, Royal Ascot?
Yeah.
Yeah, the ascot. Yeah, well, the
'Cause they
big brim is to stop the splash from the horse's blood when they shoot it in the face after it breaks its leg,
Ooh,
That's why,
so
yeah.
you don't get covered.
That's why the
Yeah.
Queen always wears a red hat, so that
Yeah,
she
exactly.
can
You
kill
can't see
the
the
horse.
blood.
just in case.
That's her one joy.
That
She
one
gets
that
to
I
shoot a horse in the head.
oh man, I
Wouldn't
swear
surprise
we
me.
go after the monarchy a lot recently. But the
Yeah.
one photo I can actually
They
picture in my
deserve it.
head where she's smiling is when her horse is winning one of those races. Like that's the only photo I've ever seen where she's got a genuine smile on her face.
Yeah, because she's like, I don't have to kill this one. It's
But yeah, there's like I think Ascot there's like different days and different dress codes for each day. So I think the
Oh.
one where the Queen's there, you have to dress like proper fancy, and then on some of the other days they have like cheaper tickets, let the peasants come in, and they just have to wear like something on their heads.
absolutely
Business
fuck
casual.
that. Business casual. Oh, how to make everyone that's going to one of those events panic is it's business casual this time.
You have casual Fridays ascot. You're allowed to wear jeans that day.
I'm like these people own jeans.
They do, but they're like really they're their work jeans where they go out on their land that other people are working on and pretend to be farmers. That kind of posh that really bothers me. That kind of
Yeah, the kind of posh people who are all in this movie.
Yes.
It really is. And
To
that's,
try and bring it back around.
no, I actually kind of want to talk about the
I did love the bit where it's the first wedding because I want to talk about all the weddings.
Yeah.
They're doing what's it called, like the greeting or whatever, where you all queue up and you say like introduce yourself or say hello to the bride and groom and the bride and the parents of the couple.
Yeah.
It's got a line. It's got a name for it. Because I remember like my photographer for my wedding. Not to go off topic again, but did I mention I get married? He was like, "Don't do it. It takes ages and it's really boring for everyone." But she was saying, "Oh God, what do I say?" I did, like the Fiona. Yeah, Fiona is saying, "I don't know what to say," and they're just say you must be very proud. And she's like, "Oh, I can't say that," and then immediately turns around and is like, "Oh, you must be very proud."
Yeah, the first
Yeah.
wedding was fine. Like the first wedding, they were
And then the bride gets really drunk and is like, "I love you." I love
Incredible.
you. Yeah. Imagine
That
doing
Yeah,
was-
that
that.
reminded
that
me
was-
of your wedding too.
no, that bit was brilliant when she was just like, holding someone by the shoulders, going, "I need to tell you how important you are." then turns around and goes, "I don't know you, but I'm
I
sure I love you too."
Yeah.
Oh, that did bring back memories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
As we were leaving
Oh.
your wedding. Took about 10 minutes.
It took longer than that. It took us like 10 minutes twice round. It was great because we were going to leave. How much of this do you remember? And I'm not asking that in a mean way, but legitimately asking, how much of us leaving do you remember?
It's not my clearest memory of today.
Do you know what you did? Because it's brilliant.
I'm not sure I want you to tell me on air.
No. It's nothing bad. It was really surreal. You, as we were gonna leave, because we were leaving in like a group of 8, and because I don't know, you put us on old friend's table.
Explained that already.
As we were leaving, you were on the dance floor, and we were like, we're gonna head off. You grabbed each one of us individually and was like, dance with me. And you,
that rings a bell.
you kind of held on to us, swaying for a bit. Everyone else, I was like, oh, you're whispering in everyone's ear, blah, blah, blah. And then I realized you weren't whispering everyone's ear. You were kind of yelling incoherently in everyone's ear something about them. And,
Yep.
and then everyone just kind of nodded as you pulled away. Because I thought you were like whispering really nice things to people, and you weren't. You were just kind of yelling incoherently.
Well, I'm sure I had nice
then you-
intentions.
Oh, I'm sure it was lovely. And then you told
Yeah,
everyone
I-
to spin you.
I think it was about how great we all are.
Yeah,
so,
well,
you
know. I was very touched you came up during a heat wave all the way to Birmingham.
No, it was incredible. It was just really funny watching everyone else. I'm like, oh, she's whispering nice things, and then it was just, and then spin me, and then we had to go back to get like a bag. Someone forgot their bag or something. We had to go back, and then we had to walk past you again, and you did it again.
Yeah, I think I was at the slightly short-term memory loss stage of having drunk too much wedding wine.
It was so fun. Oh,
That's the problem with being a
funny.
bride is everyone wants to buy you a drink, but a lot of the time people were just giving me drinks, so there wasn't like, oh, just having wine. It was like I had bits of everything because like I didn't want to be like, no. Especially
You
like
haven't-
lots of people I hadn't seen before, but yeah.
You were having the best time.
I
It
had a
was
lovely
great.
time.
It was absolutely amazing. It just took us about 20 minutes to leave, and it was
yeah,
really funny.
it was a real nice weekend though.
It was great.
Well, I had a
In
good
this
time
movie
too.
wasn't as
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Well, you know, these are
Anything
probably
to
some of the
not talk
first
about,
weddings I saw.
Yeah.
I mean, I went to one when I was 3, but I don't think that counts.
No. Can't remember.
I've had 3 weddings so far this year.
Yeah, that's another thing. It's like they were complaining about how many weddings they were going to. It's not that many.
I don't know. I've got 2 next month.
Yeah, but they're
See, that is a pain. But in the movie, they're easily spread across what
2 years.
2 years.
Like that's not
Maybe?
that many.
Yeah.
That's not enough to be like, oh, another wedding. How awful. Like that's standard. Unless
Maybe there's like 8 rich people weddings that they don't show us in the movie.
Yeah, I
Like,
thought
you
it was
know.
kind of implying that they are going to other movies. Yeah, they drop in on Notting Hill. So they drop in there. I think that it is implied they go to other weddings, but they only show the ones with Carrie in.
yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
And I think it is really hard to not get sort of sucked into that kind of thing, though, where like, and I think during that time as well, if they all sort of lived near each other and all kind of knew each other from like things like school and university, once you start inviting and seeing certain people at certain weddings, when then they get married, like, oh well, I went to their wedding, so I have to invite them to mine.
Yeah.
And then you do have this sort of group of people that are kind of always going to weddings, and you can't be like, oh well, I've said yes, I went to her wedding, but I can't be asked to go to her wedding.
I've already seen you guys like 2 months ago at a wedding. Yeah,
I'd have
Yeah.
been really pissed off if you guys were like, we're not going to your wedding because we went to a wedding 2 weeks ago. Sorry.
Well, no, if you went there. If you were at the wedding before, it'd be like, no, I'm good. I've seen you.
I
It doesn't matter.
would be heartbroken.
So yeah, the first wedding is actually pretty good. Like you learn about everyone and how
Yeah.
rich their friends are.
Yeah, because he's like, come back to my house. We have 137 spare bedrooms.
Yeah, it's like, are you the richest person in England? And he goes, no, 7th.
Yeah.
Well, first you have the Queen. It's like, oh god, I hate these people already. And
And
again,
then he's like, and Richard Branson's doing pretty well for himself.
yeah, which
Like,
age is
ah,
this
fuck.
film?
Yeah. Yeah, this is
Um,
is it 1993?
94.
94 this
94,
came
yeah.
out, yeah.
This film feels older than 94. Just like how it's made
It
and
does,
everything.
yeah.
It feels... But that might also be because they're posh people and they talk like they're from the 1800s.
They've got they've got very posh London accents.
Yeah. It's,
Like
it's
I feel like London accents now, like what we see in films, is much more like
It's all... This is all,
like the East End kind of accents come like a lot further, and like Kent sounds. But that's just how people did talk. Like this film is like how my parents talk, and they spent the 80s and 90s in London.
Yeah, it's just received pronunciation.
Yeah.
It is like...
And
it
it's
is-
kind of catching, you know. If you start doing it, you just can't stop. Isn't that right, Dan?
Yeah, sure.
Absolutely. But no, like in Kent, it's where we are. Well, two of us are. One of us
Yeah.
escaped.
I ran away.
We essentially swapped places.
you get like a weird mix of received pronunciation and like relatively working class accent.
Yeah.
It's really strange to grow up here and be like, oh yeah, no, I'm used to people speaking it very properly and very like, hey, it's proper English and you speak like that. And they go to galas and dinners and things.
Mm.
And then like working class people. And I think that has driven the anger of people that speak like that and have that kind of like flippant, boring lives.
It's,
I
oh,
think that's
darling, you must come down to the club.
Yeah, and I think
And they're not
that-
talking about, you know, snobs or,
No.
you know, the
Or-
crown.
No, I bet they're all going to play bowls or
Yeah,
something
so, you know,
boring
this
like
isn't-
that.
this
Yeah,
isn't
so
a
well,
place with
it'll be a golf club or a social club.
Yeah, this isn't a place with a pool table, is it?
Yeah, it's not and it's not a working men's club.
Yeah.
They don't play
Yeah,
bingo.
It's not a working men's club. It's a gentleman's club, and it's
Yeah.
bar. And I think that's why I think that's like one of the core reasons I do not like this film is I don't get on with people like that, especially when they live lives like this and have very little to complain about and manage to make everything as important as big as possible.
Yeah, like like I say, the biggest worry in their lives is,
Oh,
we
we're
need
going
to
to
get
get
married
married.
to someone because, you know, we're probably in our late 20s by now, and we need to get married and have children because that's how we do things.
That's what we're supposed
And
to
it's
do.
like,
Yeah, well, I
Yeah,
think
just-
there is that pressure though. Like people who do
It's-
want to settle down and haven't met someone, and they see all their friends all start getting married, are like, oh,
Yeah,
you
it's
know, I want to
absolutely-
meet someone and have that.
You know, it's absolutely a pressure, but they aren't approaching it that way. It doesn't feel like many of the couples actually like each other in this. Like especially the American and her.
It's really
Yeah, her
weird
fiancé,
how
yeah.
she ends up with him, and like that's one bit of the movie that was always puzzled me as a kid. Is like, why is she marrying Hamish?
Yeah.
And like especially after she cheats on him.
Yeah, and what really annoys me about that is she's like, oh, I'll stop cheating on him after we get married.
Yeah, because he
And she
was
said
like Hugh
that's-
Grant is saying like, oh, how do you feel about having sex with one person for the rest of your life? And she's like,
Yeah,
like, well, you know, are you gonna? And he was like, yeah, are you gonna do that? Which is a fair enough question when you've had sex with them,
yeah,
like while they've been engaged, and it's that I don't like at all, and that really old archaic attitude of like it's not a thing until you're married.
married. It just felt really weird. Also, her husband, fiance, is framed as being like a really terrible. Like they were all like, oh, he's an arsehole, he's a penis, whatever.
Yeah,
We know nothing about
yeah, no, I know, and
he's a terrible person. We don't know that. Well, I mean, he's owns half of Scotland, so probably. But we don't know him personally. We're never shown anything about him.
yeah,
but
we only see him through Hugh Grant's eyes, which is of the jealous like.
yeah,
But if he's
and
that jealous, why doesn't he make a
do
move?
something. Yeah,
It is frustrating for like I don't have any sympathy for him. Like as much as I enjoyed the
Or
film
her.
or her,
Uh,
like
she's also terrible.
but yeah, they as someone who did I mention I got married? I proposed to Jim. Like it's allowed.
Yeah,
You don't have to wait. And it's I don't know, but I still love this film. I think it's really funny. It's really I think because the stakes are incredibly non-existent.
well, it's like self-made stakes. None of these people, like Hugh Grant's, not really having any issues. He's just like causing it to himself.
He's like called out at is it the second wedding where he's a
Yeah, where all
serial
of his
monogamist
exes are
and
there.
he's sat at a table with literally all his exes and they all just gang up on him.
Yeah.
and start
'cause he's
laughing
an
about him.
arsehole.
And it's really, I like that. I found really funny, especially when they all start talking. It's like, oh, you're vomiting Veronica.
Yeah, and then they have
Um,
got another woman because of her weight, and she's like, we've all lost weight since. It was really weird, and this film is weirdly misogynistic to like his exes because they're all terrible, right? They're all like catty and mean, and
Yeah.
one
I
of
don't
his
think
exes-
they are. I think they're just not very nice to him. But it sounds
Yeah.
like he wasn't very nice to them either.
Yeah,
No,
absolutely.
until one of them decides that she wants to marry him.
Yes,
Well,
and that's
she
the
was-
thing where it's like 10 months later, and it's like, okay, so why? What's made him
Well, that
want
that
to
was-
marry her? And obviously, why does she want to marry him?
Well, no,
He wants to marry
was-
her because he wants to get married, because that's
Yeah.
the only thing that is the driving force in this character's life.
But that was the
And
s-
she
But his
probably wants
whole-
to marry
his
him
whole
because
thing
she's
that-
not over him.
The
Yeah, no,
whole
that
thing
was-
was that he doesn't want to get married. That's why he kept on breaking up with these women when it got too serious.
yeah, but then he panicked.
Yeah,
Isn't she the woman from the second second wedding?
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's at the
the
second
one that
and the
cries a
third
lot.
one,
Yeah,
Yeah, no, but because she was in love with him.
yeah,
And she thought, because it is a woman that she thought he was going to propose to her, and then it turns out he was trying to work out how to break up with her.
yeah.
Yeah.
Is that woman?
Oh, and then
yeah,
there's
she's
then
still
there's
in
the
love with
other-
him. She's
yeah.
still in love with him. So of course if he says, "I want to marry you now," she's going to be like, "Oh yeah, absolutely." She's still in love with him,
Yeah.
and that's
Exactly. And then there's the other character, which is his other friend, who she's also in love with him for some reason, but hadn't said anything until the third wedding.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was really. I was like, okay, why couldn't you tell him? Like, you're all adults. I guess there's
These-
that fear
these
of like you'll lose your friendship, but also
these people
surely
are
it'd be
not
better
adults.
to ask and find out.
These people are not adults.
No.
They don't act like it, and it's really frustrating when it's like these people are meant to be semi-realistic, and it's like none of these people are talking to each other. They're all He's manipulating everyone. He manipulates that woman into like believing that he wants to get married to her, which he doesn't. He just doesn't. He just wants to. He just wants to get married because he thinks it might help him get over the American. That's
Yeah,
it,
Yeah,
really.
exactly.
And that's so shitty. That's so awful as a person to do to someone. that
Yeah,
is
no. It's
clearly
what
in
he
love
does
with you.
is he's really horrible because it's clear he's. I think even if she'd not shown up, he would have
That's
still
still awful.
like
Well, no, it's even worse if he marries her, because then it's like,
yeah.
he's not in love with her. He'll never be in love with her,
No, it's just going to eventually end up in a divorce.
or just
Like,
a really unhappy
just-
marriage, and that's shitty.
Yeah, and then kids who are miserable because, they thought they had to have kids next, and then they don't actually like the kids because they don't love each other, and then you get
And-
kids that end up really fucked up
and
and
they-
they end up doing podcasts.
but this film phrases him as like he's kind of the victim in that situation because he's in love
Yeah.
with someone else, and he thought he just wanted to get married, but he's just in love with somebody else. He's the victim here.
Yeah,
It's like-
I don't know. I
He's
think
not.
I do find it. Yeah, it's a little bit tone deaf. I do like obviously as soon as he does say I am in love with someone else, she does punch him in the face.
Oh, that was satisfying.
Yeah,
'Cause
no,
she-
I think, and
that
that was
so
like
much shit
very,
with him.
very well, like very deserved. Like he
Yeah.
deserved to be punched in the face.
But again, she is that woman is constantly being portrayed as like a bit of a
Yeah, no,
maniac.
this
she's constantly being portrayed as like over emotional.
Yeah,
It's really
it-
frustrating.
this film definitely is misogynistic in its portrayal. I don't think it passes the what's the thingy test,
Bechdel test.
Bechdel test. I don't. It's not
No.
even trying to.
No, and that test was meant to be a joke, and it got taken seriously. Really bizarre. But it's just, and I don't know if that's like of its time or if that's just like how the writer is.
Well,
It did
I think
feel
some
very-
of the men are portrayed as absolute horrible idiots as well.
Yeah,
Like there's the guy that's literally called the boar from the boathouse, and that's the
Yeah.
bloke that is like trying to chat up Carrie, and she's
Oh,
hiding
yeah.
from him.
that whole thing was weird.
And yeah, Rowan Atkinson as the very strange, struggling priest.
Yeah, and he was just a priest in training who was given, as far as I can tell, a very, very important wedding. Like that wedding that he was doing was actually seemed really important. Like it
Seemed
was,
like quite a biggie, didn't it?
yeah.
You think
Yeah.
you'd start a small parish, but I guess you do them at whatever church.
Yeah, I guess just, if people have enough money that they can get married that quickly, then you just get whoever you can get.
But that felt like his
Because
friends
do
are
they
like
have the twins straight
landowners.
away? Do they have the twins by that wedding, or is that sort of a
No,
different
they
couple?
only have the
There-
twins,
there were
but
twins?
the first couple that get married have the twins by the last wedding.
Yeah.
The second wedding is the bridesmaid and the guy who met at the first one
Yeah.
and just end up fucking.
There were twins.
And they were probably yeah, you barely see them.
Okay.
The
They're
people
like
from the
they
first
seem
wedding
very
have
genuinely
kids.
in love, but very much in the honeymoon kind of period, where they're this kind of money as well. There's going to be quite a lot of Christianity coming into play,
Mhm.
and quite a lot of well, you're going to get okay. You might as well you've got to get hitched now because you are going to have children acting the way you are clearly going about things.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's all very Jesus-y. Which it was kind of funny when Carrie's about to leave, like the morning after, and she's like, "So when are you going to propose to me? Because we've had sex now."
Yeah, when
And
are you
he's
going to
just, like,
announce the
panicking
engagement?
and-
Yeah, she probably
Yeah.
gets him.
Yeah. She is a manic pixie dream girl, right? Like she fits
Yeah,
all the
Yeah.
yeah.
standards
It's like,
of,
well, she's at the '90s version, the early '90s version, which is American, because that's all you
And-
need in Britain.
yeah, that's true.
Pretty and
she's-
American.
And flippant and aloof and sex positive. That's
Oh
enough.
my god, yeah. Speaking of, that first sex scene was so awkward. How did I watch that as a
So
kid?
bizarre.
And they're like talking like, oh, do you think this is a
And
bit
you
far
watched
for
it
the
with your
vicar?
parents.
Yeah. Like, I do remember there were films and times when my parents would like put their hands over my eyes as a joke, and this might be one of them.
Maybe it wasn't as a joke.
Yeah,
Thinking
yeah, well,
about
yeah. I
it.
think it was also to distract me, so I didn't pick up on too much of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, this is bad, don't watch it. The film, I mean.
Desperately trying to stop you from watching it. But yeah, I don't know how much of the bad stuff in this film is the film not aging well, or how much of it is.
I think
Like,
some of
was
the
bad at
more
the time.
sexist jokes, like when he's talking about her breasts, the deaf
Yeah.
brother's talking about her breasts, and he's like trying to play it off and translate it badly. One, I
Yeah.
think, is a bit. It's all a bit ableist. Like, how come he's the only person that speaks sign language? Why is no one
Yeah,
in that group of friends
Yeah,
bothered to
no
learn?
one else has bothered.
yeah.
Like, they
Well,
don't
these
even
people don't-
say like. I guess he can lip read a little bit, but still,
Fundamentally, these people don't care about each other.
yeah.
Like, as far as I can tell, they're just friends because they
Yeah.
kind of have to be.
Basically, they're Tories. They don't care about people with disabilities.
Hmm.
Oof. But yeah, no. And again, the brother was a nice character. And
Yeah.
that
And he
girl-
calls out his brother and stops him from making a mistake, and honestly, sort of saves Henrietta
Yeah, Henny.
Hen.
Oh, Hen. I thought it was Helen. I don't know.
I think it was Henny is what he called her, which is
There was a Helen as well, I think.
Oh,
Yeah, of
okay.
course there was.
They're all rather posh names, aren't they?
Excuse me.
Helena.
Is it the A that makes me common?
Yeah.
My aunt's called Helen.
And you just explained what your parents were like.
Yeah, well, my parents are weird. Just because, sorry, mum. Because my parents weren't born particularly posh, but then moved to London and decided to be posh. Like, they weren't. This wasn't like a lifestyle they were born into. Like, my dad grew up
Yeah.
in Walsall, and my mum grew up in like the countryside in the south, but not
Yeah.
in like a manner like my
Actual countryside. Like, actual.
like with a
Countryside.
single mum
Yeah.
that was a nurse.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, the-
you know, not poor, but not like, it wasn't like, oh, it was like the way they got, you know, well off was that they went to like my mum went to university and my dad went to printing college.
Again, there's
Like,
nothing
they're
wrong
sort
with-
of, but it's weird when I think about it. It's like, yeah, I'm not like multi-generational posh like these people might be, but it's also, back then it was the social mobility I think was a lot easier
Yeah. That, oh,
in some
definitely.
ways. And for some
Definitely.
people, I think the whole university thing with the full grant,
Yeah.
not to be confused with the Hugh Grant. If you went to university in London, for example, you could then get a job in London, and you'd probably be quite well off,
Yeah.
especially if you like rose through the ranks quite quickly. But these days, it's like,
Yeah.
good luck.
There are
You might be able to get a
different-
job in London. You won't be able to afford to live there.
No, you'll just be paying rent money to the characters from this movie because
Yeah.
they all have landlord energy.
Well, that's the thing, is like there are different levels of posh, really. There is
Yeah.
like And what we were trying to, the film was trying to convince us of Hugh Grant level of posh, is completely different to his friend's level of posh, where they own land and they're millionaires that don't have to worry about anything other than will they get married and who will they get married to and how much they hate their spouse. Because they all have complaining about spouse energy.
Oh yeah, because they're men that got married in the 90s just because they wanted to get married.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's much complaining about wives, apart from there's that one guy that Hugh Grant's character accidentally tells him that everyone thought she was cheating on him, and he's just kind of stunned.
I just meant the energy of it, like the
okay.
Yeah, no,
level of posh.
Oh, sorry, he's actually listed as John with the unfaithful wife.
Well, I mean, give it a couple of years and these characters are all sitting in the pub talking about the old ball and chain. Oh, sorry, I mean the club.
Yeah, I was going to say it. They were all playing golf talking about their ball and chain.
Yes, well, I'd have to get home to the missus. She'll be complaining that she's just had to cook my roast dinner all day.
Oh, like she has to cook.
She had to tell someone else to cook.
It takes a lot of energy.
It's a lot of energy. She's out spending all of my money. We don't like. I hope no one posh is. I genuinely hope no one that posh is listening to this podcast.
Posh people don't know how podcasts work. It's fine. What do you mean? It's like the radio, but you can listen to it when you want to, and they talk about things that you're interested in.
We're officially
make sense.
hostile to that level of posh. But yeah, no. There are funny bits of this film, and there are good bits, but it was just the overall, like, all of these people are most of these people are kind of bad. The ones that are redeeming are kind of not redeeming, and there's one or two that are like genuinely probably shouldn't be part of this friend group. I think that's what kind of killed me watching this film. It just got really frustrating being like, I don't want to watch it. About half an hour in, I was like, I don't want to watch this film. I don't like any of these people.
I found I liked the comedy in it, like the funny bits in it. Like, I think the plot is very much secondary to just the little bits of slice of fantasy life humor.
I don't think I found the humor, because I don't think I found the humor that funny, because it's that kind of like flaccid British comedy where it's like we made a joke about a dick. The jokes just, I don't know how to explain it, and I don't know how to explain why I don't like it, but I don't.
No, and another point to show just how rich these people are is the guy that owns a castle is perfectly fine marrying his cousin.
That's standard for them.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, right at the end it gets a bit weird. Yeah. He's like, "Oh yes, we're related."
And but it's okay because it's
few kids. Yeah, he definitely seems to be weighing up the like, how related are we?
It's far enough down, it doesn't matter.
It's far enough down the line. It's further away than royalty. It's fine.
Isn't that joke made in, I want to say a film, but that's not very helpful.
Maybe it's in a film.
Oh, they have the same. It might have been a sitcom or something. They have the same they have the same grandma, photo.
That's too close.
In their homes, and they go on a date, and it's like, why do you have a photo of my grandmother? And it's like, and they're like, how?
That's recalling, but I have no idea what that's from.
I just like they say, okay, we have to say at the same time how many generations back it is. We'd have to be before it's okay for us to hook up. And then they say at the same time, and he goes 7, and she goes none. We can't be at all related. And I know it's quite funny. Just because 7 is a lot, but then it's also like the fact that she's like, what? There is an amount. So if people could let me know what film that is.
Yeah, let us know what that's from. And I guess for now, I mean, Helena, so did this hold up for you, considering you're the one with nostalgia for it?
Yeah, I had a really good time watching this.
Did we make it worse?
No, not at all, really. Like the film, I just kind of let what you were saying wash over me, and I'll cling on to the bits that you liked, and I'll ignore the rest.
Cool.
Yeah,
What would you give this then out of 10? If you were to rate it,
I would give this, I think, 7 weddings and a funeral, so 8. 8 out of 10. I really like this film, guys, and it's like a big hug watching it. I hadn't seen it in years, though. I don't think I'd seen it in about maybe 10 years.
Wow.
That sounds like a good
how-
premise for a podcast.
How much of that do you think is nostalgia? Like, how much?
Yeah.
Oh, a
can-
hefty
can you,
chunk.
like,
A hefty
parse
chunk
out-
for like that nostalgia of the 90s and of my very early childhood that I don't remember properly. From when everything was kind of soft fabrics and tartan and big bows and it like that kind of my parents, like they sound like my parents. And
Because, like a lot of people don't seem to realise, is that they think things were better when they were a kid, but that's because you only really remember the good bits and not that much else.
Also, you didn't have to deal with a lot of the bad.
You don't have to deal with the issues in the world,
Yeah.
no.
yeah, I wasn't sat there age 3 being like, oh god, the economy.
The
No,
socio
exactly.
the socioeconomic impact of having
Oh,
this
no, we
many
can,
weddings.
So okay, boys, let's have it.
Dan, do you want to go first? Because I feel like I've said enough for people to know.
Yeah, I'm gonna give this, like, honestly, a 2 more times Helena
What?
mentioned she got married.
You hated it that much?
I'm sorry.
Oh my god. I like you less now.
Yeah, I've
You're gonna
only
hate
heard
me.
people talk good things about this movie, and I was just like, it just didn't like. You know, you get that sort of second-hand hype when everyone's like, "This is really good. Oh, you'll really like this," and I just didn't.
Have you seen Notting Hill?
No, I have not.
Yeah. It's great, you'll love it. It's about this
Gonna
group
eat
of
Notting
friends,
Hill.
right?
Are
And
they all
Hugh
getting
Grant.
married?
No, they're already married in this one, apart from Hugh Grant.
Oh, okay, so it's
Hugh
the
Grant's
sequel
looking
to
for
this,
someone,
yes.
and
Oh, of course, yes. He is Hugh
He-
Grant, of course.
and he meets this American.
Oh, wow. They had one film for him, didn't they?
Yeah, like that's why he was so infamously typecast. Like that's not a
Yeah.
secret.
No, that's true.
But anyway, in this one, she's an actress.
She's also an actress in
fair.
this one. She's playing an American. And I say that because we never learn what this character does.
No,
We don't know what any
because
of the
she's just
characters
rich. It's fine. Doesn't matter what they do because they
Yeah.
have money and they don't have to worry.
do. Which the writer said, what I read a bit about, the writer was like, the characters never talk about their jobs because he didn't think he didn't think friends would talk about their jobs. Which is like, you don't when you're posh,
No,
kind of thing.
because
It's
you know,
finance.
being a landlord isn't
Yeah.
a real job.
Because there is very little to discuss about their jobs.
Oh, so I just bought all these houses and then people give me money to live in them. It's
Yeah.
fantastic, really.
But yeah, I have to give this film like 1.5,
Oh my
maybe
God.
2 at a push. This film made me so angry, not just because of this film, but because like reading about the writer and the director talking about it, and then being like, the writer was like wanted it to be a bit surreal and a bit weird, and be like
That would have been
everything
cool.
everything. Yeah, the writer was like, everything has to be funny. Like, it has to be funny on every page.
Yeah.
And the director wanted to make it more real. He wanted every character. The director was like, every character needs a good backstory, and like be an actual character, and not just get 3 funny lines.
Yeah.
And I'm like, none of these characters, so many of this background characters, don't have storylines. They aren't relatable. They aren't real people. They're misogynistic caricatures of people, and that got me really angry because it was like, this is what the director thinks is real people act like. This is what the director thinks women are like. They're crying over emotional, hateful people, and they're not all like some manic pixie dream girl from America that's come in, and it's like, that's not a lot. Like, that's so
Okay, this was
bizarre.
hidden from me at the time, but I just want to say, at my wedding, apparently a few people did cry, like, about their relationships and stuff.
But not like following the man round to go cry, saying hello to him and not being able to hold themselves back from tears,
No.
and then confessing that, like, I was in love with you, I thought you were going to marry me, I'm still in love with you. Still crying the whole time. And then one of his other exes essentially spitting at him, saying, how dare you talk to her? Haven't you done enough?
So did you guys like the funny reoccurring gag with the slightly, the deaf, the man that doesn't quite understand what's going on?
He was great. He was
Yeah,
incredible.
old
He was
people
really
and
funny.
not understanding are funny. Yeah.
Well, because when he
was funny,
comes,
that was funny.
he comes in to the church for the last wedding, and
Yeah,
they go
he was
bride
the-
or groom, and he's
very
like,
good.
bride or groom. He's like, it
Obviously.
should be perfectly obvious. I'm neither.
Yeah.
Just walks away. In
That was one of the pages with a joke on
Yeah.
incredible. But yeah, my other problem with this is it does point out the problem of filmmaking at that time, and still kind of now, is very contained to people with connections and very rich, posh people.
Yes, this film is very safe.
If that's what the director and the writer consider relatable. And that, I think that really bothered me, because it's like this industry wasn't at the time at all accessible, especially in like English indie film. That kind of bothered me. But yeah, just reading about them. So yeah, 1.5 to 2. But that's very like I have very personal. I have anti-nostalgia for this film. It's all very personal. My hatred for this film, because it is objectively a well-made film. It's just all very personal from me.
So have you guys seen About a Boy?
Yeah, that one was pretty good.
Yeah.
I think I
From what
watched
I
it
remember.
a few
I
years
mean,
ago.
the point of this podcast, from what I remember, it was good.
Yeah, I think he kills a duck by throwing a loaf of bread at it, and then he's in skins, right?
Yeah, that's what happens. It's a really
Yeah.
hard cut to the opening of Skin.
What about music and lyrics?
I don't know. I can't remember the music.
I
from-
don't think I
About a
remember.
Boy.
I never saw that. I remember even that was like a made for Valentine's Day kind of film. But it's Hugh Grant and Drew Barrymore.
That's gonna be like the most wholesome thing in the world. That film.
Well,
Is
it's
it-
just Hugh Grant meets an American and falls in love with them.
Yeah, but it's Drew Barrymore. Drew Barrymore like plays Ernest so much.
I think her name might be Lyric or it's music. I can't remember.
So this film.
Oh no, sorry, her name's Sophie. I don't know where I got that from. Okay.
So this film.
Yeah, it's not called Music and Sophie.
This film got. Oh man.
You can tell that we didn't like it because we spent most of the time talking about Helena's Wedding and
Helena's
other
Wedding was
movies.
so much fun though.
Yeah.
I'd happily
it
do
was.
it. That was so.
It would be
much
pretty
fun.
brutal if he like came on the pod like, yeah, well, you know, Helena's wedding was
We
also
went.
shit.
We had to.
No, it was great. It was. So
We
much
thought
fun.
the weddings in this film were bad, but then we went to Helena's.
Yeah, we had a good trip up. I had a good
Yeah.
trip up.
Yeah.
And
Anyway,
we had a
Really
good
good time.
weekend.
with that,
Yeah, maybe we should wrap up.
Yeah.
I'm done with you
I-
slating this movie.
Well, I have been Dan.
I have been Michael.
And I've been Helena. Mrs. Helena.
And you can.
Mhm.
Yeah, Helena's your surname. That's the weird thing.
It's all of our surnames. Guess our first name.
Yeah, you can find this podcast on Twitter and Instagram at HiltonPod. That's at HILTM Pod. We're on Discord as well, so you can yell at me and Michael about how much you love this movie about posh people getting married.
Don't even try.
I'll put
Don't
some
even-
wedding photos
What are we
on there.
gonna do for the Patreon? Are we gonna spend it all on a wedding?
Wedding or a funeral?
No, we're gonna plan a series of weddings. No, we're gonna have one. Oh, fuck, I don't know. I don't care. I'm so mad about this film.
Michael, how would you
Did
want your
you-
wedding to go?
Oh, small, quiet, very few people there.
Cool.
That's not a joke. I don't.
Well, give
wanna-
us money on the Patreon. That might happen. We'll
Yeah.
see.
No,
Also,
we-
it means
yeah, no,
the show
that's
can
it.
continue.
No, that's it. You give us money on the Patreon. We will host a wedding. We haven't decided who is getting married yet.
Maybe they
Um,
find out when they get there.
And yeah, they will. Yeah, that's it. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna hold a surprise wedding where we invite a load of people, and
We invite
one,
all of our Patreons,
and two of
and
them.
two of them are getting married.
Well, no, just all of our friends and everyone we can find, and every guest we've had on the podcast, we're going to invite to a wedding and not say who it is. And two of them are going to get special cards.
I was going to say, is this like a tombola thing, or is it, you know, if you
more-
choke on a
No.
ring in your champagne glass?
It's more Charlie
getting
and the Chocolate
married.
Factory.
Oh, okay.
You get the special gold card. They'll assume everybody else is.
Oh, I love the gold foil card. Oh, what do you mean?
invitation.
Mine was just cream.
Yes. Hang on. You're just standing next to the chocolate river and not being swept up it to to an altar. How
Yeah,
weird.
We're gonna hold. Well, that's it. Is we're gonna kill off the rest of the party Willy Wonka style until we're
And
left.
the remaining two get married.
That's what we're gonna do.
I
We're
bet
gonna
there's.
hold
I know what I'm googling next.
We're gonna hold a
Willy
Willy
Wonka
Wonka,
themed.
style battle royale situation where the two survivors are forced to get married.
I mean, didn't that happen in the Hunger Games?
Yeah, but that had more political statement behind it. We're just doing it because of the chaos.
Well, it's time to thank our Patreons for this week as well. So this week's Patreon.
Please tell
to
me no
thank-
one suggested this film.
No,
Okay, thank God.
this week's Patreon is actually someone called Helena, and the film that they've said that they're really nostalgic for is The Black Cauldron. What are the chances of that?
Fake news. That person doesn't exist.
They could have picked a worse film, like 4 Weddings and a Funeral.
Fuck.
Fuck.
That's my Hugh Grant impression.